All right, get ready because today we are going on a deep dive
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
into the world of David Deutsch,
Yeah.
a physicist
Yes.
and philosopher who, well, he really challenges the way we think about a lot of things.
He really does. He's got some really interesting and thought-provoking ideas that kind of connect all sorts of fields like,
Yeah,
physics and philosophy and computer science.
exactly. And it all comes together to give you this whole new perspective on the universe. And for this deep dive,
Right.
we are focusing specifically on his ideas about causality,
Causality, yeah.
which is, the whole cause and effect thing.
Yeah, it sounds simple enough,
Right.
but not so simple with Deutsch.
Yeah, he makes you rethink even
Yeah.
the most basic
Good shit.
concepts.
Yeah.
So you pulled together some excerpts from his book, The Beginning of Infinity, for
Yes.
us to kind of guide this deep dive.
Yep. Focusing on, like you said, his ideas about causality.
Okay, so how about we start with this? How does Deutsch actually challenge that typical view of time as like a flowing river?
Oh, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
So Deutsch points out that this idea that time is constantly moving forward, from the past to the future, that it actually clashes with what we know from physics, specifically Einstein's theory of space-time.
Okay, so Einstein's model says that all moments, past, present, and future,
Yes.
exist simultaneously.
All at once.
So it's not that time is flowing.
Right.
It's more like everything is already laid out.
It is, yeah, kind of like a map of the universe through time, if you look at it.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So Deutsch, he uses this term snapshots to describe this idea.
He does, yeah. So each snapshot represents like a complete start of the universe
Okay.
at a particular moment, and all those snapshots exist eternally. They're all there.
So nothing actually moves from one moment to the next.
Exactly. It's not like, we're moving along this timeline.
No.
It's more like all these moments are just kind of frozen in time, coexisting together.
Okay, this is where I have to take a minute and think about it.
It's a lot to take in.
All moments are frozen in time, existing together.
Yeah, it's a big idea,
Yeah.
and it's really where the concept of the multiverse
Okay.
becomes really important.
Here we go.
Yeah, for understanding Deutsch's view of causality.
All right, so instead of a single timeline,
Right.
we have countless parallel universes.
An infinite number, potentially.
Okay, and each one of those represents a different,
Possible outcome.
every single event,
Every event.
every decision.
So every time a decision is made, or I don't know, like a coin flip,
Anything, yeah.
that creates a new universe.
Exactly, and it keeps branching out,
Yeah.
like a tree, creating this huge, vast multiverse.
So in this view, when you make a choice, it's not changing the future of one single universe.
Right.
It's selecting which branch of the multiverse.
That you're going to experience. You are going to experience. Okay, that is, wow. Okay.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
I'm trying to wrap my head around how does this change how we think about cause and effect?
That's the big question, right? So in a single timeline universe, it's easy to think about cause and effect in a linear way.
Like A leads to B.
Exactly. A leads to B, but in the multiverse, it's much more complex. It's almost like a web of interconnected causes and effects that span these multiple universes.
So it's not just a simple A leads to B scenario anymore.
Not quite, no. Deutsch, he uses this example of, like a transporter device, like in Star Trek,
Yeah.
that can send information between parallel universes.
I love Star Trek.
So imagine you've got these two identical universes, and you use this transporter to send a single photon
Okay.
from one universe to the other.
Just one photon.
Just one little photon. That's all it takes.
Okay, so the photon, it just arrives in the other universe.
Right. In some universes, yes, it just pops into existence.
Yeah. But in other universes, that single photon could cause like a tiny voltage surge in a circuit somewhere, and that could trigger this whole chain of events
Okay.
leading to something significant.
What kind of significant event?
Well, I mean, who knows? It could be anything. Maybe a couple decides to get divorced,
All from a photon?
or maybe someone wins the lottery.
Wow.
I mean, the possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah.
It's this interconnectedness that makes Deutsch's view of causality so radical, so different.
And it really makes you think about the consequences of your own actions, not just in this universe,
Right.
but in all these other universes.
Across the multiverse, yeah, it's a pretty profound thought, right?
It is.
And we're just scratching the surface here when it comes to Deutsch's ideas about causality and the multiverse.
But before we get too much further,
Okay.
I think it's important to think about how this relates back to science
Yeah, that's a good point.
and knowledge itself. Deutsch is a big proponent of.
Good explanations.
Good explanations, yes. Absolutely.
So how does this multiverse perspective on causality
Right.
impact the way that we understand knowledge?
Yeah, how does it change how we seek and understand knowledge? That's a great question. Let's explore that.
Okay, so we've kind of established that the multiverse, it really messes with our traditional understanding of cause and effect.
It really does.
So how does this connect to the idea of knowledge? Does the multiverse somehow change how we learn
Oh, absolutely.
and understand the world?
Yeah, it has big implications for knowledge.
Okay.
Because for Deutsch, finding good explanations, that's central to the pursuit of knowledge, right? And he argues that the multiverse, it actually expands the possibilities for what a good explanation even is.
Okay, so how does the multiverse make explanations better?
Well, think about it. In a single universe model, explanations are limited, right? They're limited by what we can observe within our own timeline.
Okay.
But the multiverse, it opens up this possibility that explanations, they can draw upon information from other universes, other branches of reality.
So it's like having access to a much larger data set.
Exactly. It's like instead of just looking at our own universe's history,
Right.
we can consider all these possibilities, all these outcomes across the multiverse, you know? It's like having this cosmic library of information.
Yeah, instead of just looking at the successes, we can look at the failures.
Right. And the path is not taken.
The path's not taken across all these different worlds.
Yeah, imagine being able to study all that. That would completely revolutionize how we understand things, wouldn't it?
It'd be like having a cosmic laboratory where we can observe the results of every possible experiment.
Right, exactly.
But how would we even access this information from other universes?
Yeah, well, that's where things get really speculative, right? I mean, Deutsch suggests that maybe advanced technologies, even time travel someday could allow us to interact with these parallel universes and learn from them.
Time travel, there it is again.
I know, right?
Every time we talk about Deutsch, we end up back at time travel. But let's stick with the knowledge aspect for now.
Yeah.
How would understanding causality in this multiverse context change how we approach scientific progress?
Well, I think it would make us much more ambitious, and open-minded in our search for explanations.
Okay.
Instead of just trying to predict what will happen in our own universe,
Yeah.
we'd be trying to understand the underlying principles, the things that govern all possible universes.
So it's not just about, explanations that are locally valid, but ones that are universally true.
Exactly. Universally true across the multiverse.
So instead of just noticing that the sun rises every morning,
Yeah.
it's about understanding the laws of physics
Yeah.
that govern the motion of stars and planets.
Right, and laws that would hold true across the multiverse.
Yeah.
So that kind of explanation, one that goes beyond the limitations of our single universe, I mean, that would be a far more powerful kind of knowledge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's about those fundamental truths that underpin reality itself,
Yeah.
not just the specific circumstances of our own little corner of the multiverse.
Exactly, and the implications of that are huge, right? I mean, it suggests that scientific progress, it's potentially unlimited. There's always going to be new layers of reality to uncover,
Right.
new connections to make, new explanations to discover.
Yeah, it's exciting, but it's also a little daunting.
It is, yeah.
Because the more we learn, it seems like the more we realize how much we don't know.
That's the beauty of it, right? The beginning of infinity, as Deutsch puts it.
Yeah.
The pursuit of knowledge. It's an endless journey.
Yeah.
It's constantly expanding our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
And this makes me think about something we talked about a little bit earlier, the idea that knowledge itself could be a force.
A force in the universe.
In the universe.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
So how does that concept fit into this multiverse view of causality?
Well, Deutsch argues that knowledge has real physical effects on the universe,
Okay.
even beyond our planet.
Okay.
And he uses this example of stellar evolution.
Right. He was saying that we can't really predict the future of stars accurately without considering the future of knowledge creating life on Earth.
Exactly, because if we develop, say, technologies to harness the energy of stars more efficiently,
Yeah.
that would directly impact their lifespan, how they evolve.
So the knowledge that we create, the technologies we develop, those could have a ripple effect across the entire cosmos, potentially changing the fate of stars and galaxies.
Yeah, it's a really profound thought, right? It challenges that traditional view that humanity's insignificant in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, we're not just passive observers, we are active participants
Exactly.
in the story of the universe.
Right.
But this also brings up another question. If if knowledge can be that powerful,
Yeah,
does that mean we have a responsibility to use it wisely?
it's a great question, right? And it's a question worth pondering. I mean, if creating and using knowledge can have consequences that extend across the multiverse, then maybe we do have an obligation
Yeah.
to think about the ethical implications of what we choose to learn and create.
So it's not just about pursuing knowledge just for the sake of it, but about understanding the impact it could have
Yeah,
on all these other worlds and timelines.
it's a complex issue, and Deutsch, he acknowledges that, and he argues that embracing rationality, seeking good explanations, those are crucial for navigating these ethical challenges.
So we're moving into the realm of philosophy here,
We are. Yeah.
trying to understand the implications of these really mind-bending scientific ideas for how we view ourselves and our place in the universe.
That's where it gets really interesting, confronting these big questions about reality, knowledge, our responsibility as knowledge creators.
It's a lot to take in, but it's also really inspiring. Because it makes you realize that the universe is so much more complex and amazing than we can even imagine.
And that our journey of discovery, it's just beginning, right? There's infinite possibilities waiting to be explored, mysteries to unravel.
Okay, after that incredible deep dive into the interconnected nature of knowledge and causality across the multiverse, I think my brain needs a minute to catch up.
Yeah.
But before we get too lost in all those infinite possibilities, I want to hear more about Deutsch's take on time travel because we keep coming back to it.
We do, yeah.
So let's just tackle it head on.
Let's do it. Time travel is a fascinating topic, and Deutsch's perspective on it is, as you might expect, quite unconventional.
Okay, time travel, it sounds like science fiction, but Deutsch argues that it might actually be possible.
Yeah, within this whole framework of the multiverse.
Right. So how does he envision time travel working?
Well, like we were talking about, in the multiverse model, all moments in time, they exist simultaneously.
So the past and the future are already out there.
Yeah. They are. Yeah, it's like just like different locations in space,
So instead of thinking of time as this linear progression,
Right.
it's more like a vast landscape.
Yeah, like a map with
Yeah.
all these different moments existing side by side.
Okay, that makes sense to me, but doesn't that open up the possibility for paradoxes?
Yeah.
Like going back in time and doing something that changes the past, like the classic example.
Yeah, the grandfather paradox.
Yeah, just go back in time and you prevent your grandparents from meeting.
Right, if that were possible.
Right. Wouldn't that create a contradiction? Like you wouldn't even exist.
Yeah, it seems like it, but that's where the multiverse really comes in handy.
Okay.
Because in Deutsch's view, going back in time, it wouldn't actually change the past of your own universe.
Okay.
It would just create a new branch of the multiverse, a whole new timeline where those changes happen.
So if I went back and stopped my grandparents from meeting, it wouldn't erase my own existence.
No, it would just create a universe where you never existed.
It would just create a new universe.
New timeline.
Yeah. Where I never existed. Wow.
Yeah, so in that new branch, your grandparents, they never meet, you're never born, and history plays out differently. But your original timeline, the one where you do exist, that remains unchanged.
Okay, so that kind of resolves the paradox, but
Yeah.
it also raises some pretty mind-blowing questions about identity. Like
Yeah.
if there are countless versions of myself out there living all these different lives in all these different universes,
Yeah.
what does it even mean to be me?
That's a big question, right? And it's a philosophical question that Deutsch definitely tackles. He argues that each of those versions of you, they're all distinct individuals. They're shaped by the unique circumstances and choices of their own universe.
So it's like there's a core me-ness
Yeah, maybe.
that gets expressed differently depending on what path through the multiverse I take.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And this kind of brings us back to that idea of knowledge as a force in the universe, right?
Right.
Each of those versions of you is creating knowledge, exploring different possibilities, contributing to the overall growth of understanding across the multiverse.
It's amazing to think about, like we're all part of this grand experiment,
Yeah.
exploring all the potential of reality
Across all these different universes.
across all these different universes, and with that comes a sense of responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
If our choices and actions can have consequences across the multiverse, we have to use our knowledge carefully.
We really do.
This whole conversation has been a wild ride.
It has.
We've gone from the basic nature of time and causality
Yeah.
to the mind-blowing possibilities of the multiverse and the power of knowledge
And time travel.
and time travel. Yeah, it's really challenged my assumptions and opened up some new ways of thinking about the universe.
It's a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of David Deutsch.
Okay.
I think the most important takeaway for me is this. Embrace the open-ended nature of progress. Embrace that beginning of infinity.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's a reminder that there's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to create.
Absolutely.
And that the pursuit of knowledge, it's a journey without end.
A journey that could lead to the most incredible destinations across the multiverse.
Exactly. So to our listeners out there, keep asking those big questions.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask the big questions.
Keep seeking those good explanations.
Now keep exploring the infinite possibilities.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this deep dive, so please connect with us on the show's website, and who knows, maybe our next adventure will take us to another corner of Deutsch's universe.
Yeah, until then, keep those brains stretching.
And those minds open.